Hey everyone, MTAS here, and the Raiden Shogun as well as the Ayato banner are coming out, and I wanted to talk about a couple things with these characters. I want to talk about how to build them, some team comps, and if you should get their weapons. Now, for the first time ever, if you want to get her weapon, at least Ayato's weapon is on there. But you might notice that I don't have Ayato's weapon. I've got the Jade Cutter. The Jade Cutter is so close to being as good as his guarantee, or his, character weapon, it's not even funny. And so, yes, you can go get this, and if you miss, you get Ayato's weapon, but if you've already got something like a Jade Cutter, then I wouldn't recommend it that much. Also, Raiden Shogun can be absolutely insane with the catch. She can work with Skyward Spine, she can work with Primordial Jade Wing Spear, but the catch is a free weapon that does incredibly well on her overall, and you're not going to cry about the damage numbers you're going to put out with the catch. Now, I have Engulfing Lightning, so I'm going to show you my stats with the Engulfing Lightning. There's a couple of things going into play here. Let's look at the passive here overall. Attack increased by 28% of your energy recharge over 100%. You can gain a maximum of 80% attack. You also gain 30% energy recharge for 12 seconds upon using your burst. This has a bunch of energy recharge built in. Now, there's another thing I want to show you quickly. This talent. Each 1% above 100% energy recharge gives you 0.4% electro damage. Now, this opens a lot of doors for Raiden Shogun. Getting ER gives you attack. Getting ER gives you electro damage, which means that with your artifact set, something like this, which gives you energy recharge, is also giving you attack percentage. It is also, allowing you to get your burst up all the time. It is also giving you more electro damage. And so in the case of my Raiden Shogun, she's got 77.8% electro damage. Here's the other crazy thing. If you look at my artifacts here, she's not even using an Electro Goblet. Now, you can use an Electro Goblet if you've got a really good one. There's no issues with using an Electro Goblet, but I happen to have this attack percentage one with crit damage, crit rate, and some EM, and she already has more elemental damage than someone like my Ayato. If you look at my Ayato here, he's got a 46% Hydro damage bonus, and that's from his goblet here. His overall, even with the artifact set, is only 61%. And so you can sort of afford to get some extra stats in other areas to boost up your damage. So, here's my build for Raiden Shogun. We've got the energy recharge, EM, crit damage, and crit rate. We've got on-set, emblem set. I would recommend the emblem set all the time for Raiden Shogun. A bunch of crit damage, a bunch of crit rate. We've got EM and ER. This thing is beautiful. This thing is almost perfect. I'll never replace it. This bad boy here, it's not the best piece ever. Maybe because the ER, it works with her kit. But I would love to get a better piece. This one here with crit rate, EM, and crit damage could be maybe a little bit better. But my feathers, for whatever reason, aren't amazing. They're just not great. So I'm going with this one for right now, but I could definitely get an upgrade here. You saw my timepiece. You saw my goblet with the attack percentage, crit damage, crit rate, and EM. I had another one. This has a little bit more EM. Maybe it's this one here. This one here has a little bit more energy recharge, crit rate, and crit damage. This one here I think is just overall better because I have the EM sands now, the ER sands. So sorry for stammering there. This one I was using before, and then I swapped to this one because it was just a little bit juicier for damage. As for my helmet, I've got crit rate, crit damage, energy recharge, a bunch there. So my overall stats with her are 63 crit rate, 133 crit damage, 294 ER, and then she's got like 77.8 electro damage. Pretty damn good. This Raiden Shogun can be upgraded. Now, you may not have the weapon, so maybe it's harder to get some of these stats, but my Raiden Shogun could be upgraded. And she already beats everything in the game. She absolutely stomps everything. She has the highest damage hit in the game. For me, she is such a hard carry, it's not even funny. And I don't have her biggest constellation, C2. I don't know why you'd even need this. I don't know where you would ever need this. I don't use my Raiden Shogun sometimes because it's too easy. I'm not even kidding. She's that busted, especially with her weapon and her artifacts the way they are. I can't find a... I burst everything down in one hit, and I just kind of get bored. So I don't know why you would get C2. I wouldn't recommend getting C2. But there is my Raiden Shogun. If you want to use her, here's the beautiful thing. If you throw her into a team, she's pretty much going to work. I have some recommendations for characters you might want to throw in, but realistically, she can work anywhere. I think she works beautifully with Nahida. If you want to do like a dual carry thing, you can actually use Ayato if you really wanted to. That's not super meta. But some of the key supports are people that bring a lot of value. I would say Nahida's up there. Kazuha, absolutely crazy with her as well. I've done some fun stuff with Tainari, not necessarily the best. Dendro Traveler. Dendro Traveler, applying all that Dendro can be beautiful. Some of the constellations giving some extra damage. Like this one, the C6, which I probably should have unlocked, but I don't. She's really good with Dendro MC. She can work nicely with Xing Cho, with Bennett, with Shang Ling to do the Raiden national comp. You can swap out, different units here and there, but for the most part, if you just use these other 4-star units and her, it's like some of the fastest clears in the game. It's insanity how good it is. We've got other options that you could use, like a Sucrose giving her EM and sucking up the enemies for you to burst it could be really good. Kujo-Sara is also, high potential for damage. The highest damage hit I have is because of this passive, but that means you have to have a C6 Kujo-Sara. You got to level her up and invest in a relatively clunky character that only really boosts Electro characters to the point where I care about her. She can provide bonus attack to your teammates, but she just doesn't feel that great to play, and the bonuses she provides are pretty short durations, unfortunately. So there's my Raiden Shogun. If I swap out the catch here, I'll just do this really quickly. She loses some value. Her attack went down quite a bit here. Her crit damage doesn't change. Her ER still really solid overall. I think if I leave the party, this might swap. I'm not sure. But she's still really good with the catch. She's gonna blow up everything. The unique passive here, you have to remember, is my attack might be lower, but this increases your burst damage and the crit rate. So you're going to crit more, and this is like a multiplier on top. So yes, my attack is down, but I'm still going to hit really hard. Very comparable. So don't stress about it too much. Let's move on to Ayato. My Ayato, I think, is pretty well built, but again, I think I could get some upgrades here and there. I do have the Jade Cutter, and I wouldn't recommend going for his weapon, really, unless you are going for Raiden Shogun's weapon, just because, I mean, if you don't have the Jade Cutter, I guess then maybe it's less risky. For me, this thing is so close to the other weapon that it's hard to recommend the other weapon if you have a Jade Cutter, and because I just think that the other weapon is so niche and it's kind of specifically made for Ayato that I wouldn't want most people to go for it because it doesn't work on everyone. I can put this Jade Cutter on multiple different characters and it works and it has value and it's really good. And so that's, why I recommend always getting weapons that are a little bit more universal. But, it is what it is. As for the artifacts overall, I would recommend the Hydro set. Okay? You've got the Echo of Offering set. Let me just go into here. The Echo of Offering. I think it's right near the top, or it used to be right near the top. Hello? Please? Where is it? It's not that one. Oh, God. Help me! This one, Lost Valley. Found it. First try. This is super, super niche. And depending on your frame rate, apparently there's issues. Like if you have bad ping, apparently this can it's still bugged and won't proc properly. This set, super, super niche. This set, pretty damn niche as well. It's almost only used on Shao. And so I would not recommend going for this domain because it's just so risky. It's going to be a lot of energy to get maybe best in slot, but realistically, if we look at this set here, the Hydro set is cracked. Gives you Hydro damage as well as normal and charge attack damage. This can be used on multiple characters realistically, but it works on him. But the most important thing is if you're farming for this Heart of Depth set, you can also get the cryo set at the same time. And this is like best in slot for a lot of units. So that's kind of my rationale for it. If you don't want to use either of those sets, you can also use the Gladiator set. The Gladiator set could be really good on Ayato as well. And some of you may already have a good set kind of laying around from doing different bosses. So this is definitely potential as well. I went for the Hydra set just because I wanted to. Let's take a peek at the artifacts. The flower, I could definitely get some upgrades. We got some attack percentage, crit damage, crit rate. It's good. It's solid. Lots of damage. But I could definitely upgrade this. This bad boy has a like 40 crit value, some energy recharge. I would love to get some attack percentage on there. Maybe EM if I'm using Shangling, but pretty good little piece there. This one here is solid as well with the crit damage, crit rate, and the elemental mastery. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. We're happy with this. And then the Hydro damage bonus is on an offset piece with crit rate, crit damage, and attack percentage. This one, probably one of my better artifacts because the crit rate and the ER on this crit damage piece. He doesn't really need ER though, like at all. And so if you look at my Ayato, he is at 93, 214, 115 energy recharge, really low, and then he's 61 Hydro damage. Okay? So the reason he doesn't need a lot of ER is because of this passive here. When he's off field and you're rotating through all your other characters, he just kind of generates energy for himself every second. And so this is essentially 40 energy out of his 80. Half of his energy can be regained while you're off field doing other stuff. And that's kind of cool. I actually really like that. If you pair him with Raiden Shogun, because of this, and on-field Raiden Shogun, as soon as you come back to Ayato, he's got this burst. But for the most part, by the time you're done your E ability, you can use this thing almost on cooldown, even with low energy recharge. So that's pretty cool. As for talents, he's 10-10, and he could get upgrades here and there, but he's pretty well built, and it would be a lot of energy, most likely, and a lot of effort to get those little upgrades. Maybe one day if I'm feeling up for it. But for the most part, I'm happy with my Ayato. As for Ayato, team comps, again, if you throw him with Nahida and Shangling, can be a really interesting little build. You can throw Bennett in there. You can throw in Xingqiu in there, because Xingqiu actually shreds, I think he shreds Hydro with this constellation. Decreases Hydro resistance of the opponent's hit. So he can actually be pretty interesting because you also get the Hydro resonance, which gives you more HP. And if you do have the Jade Cutter, you're going to get more value out of the Jade Cutter as well. So Nahida, definitely really good. You can use Raiden Shogun. Kazuha, always good for every unit in the game. Kazuha is up there because of the defense shred and all of that. An interesting support as well is if you use Venti. If you use Ganyu, you can do a very interesting quadratic scaling thing where everything is just frozen and dies. You suck everything up, you pop both their bursts, and they just get hit with icicles and water, and they can't move, and they die. So pretty interesting comp if you've got the units. If you want that Hydro Resonance, you can use Kokomi as a healer as well. He works pretty good with Dendro Traveler, and I typically use Shangling and Bennett. Like, I get the Pyro Resonance going, and maybe throw Kazuha in the mix there. But that's the way I typically play him. I know that he can work with other units. I'm sure he works fine with Sucrose. He can work fine with Beidou, I'm sure. Yunjin, though, I don't have the maxed out Yunjin. But Yunjin C2 here gives you normal attack damage, which benefits Ayato. And then this one, normal attack speed. Really, really cool how that works. And then her burst just gives you some extra multipliers on your normal attacks. Yunjin can be pretty crazy as well. You could do Yunjin, Ayato, Shangling, and then someone else, and you're going to slap. You're going to do really, really good damage overall. And so, yeah, that's kind of all I had to really say about these characters. If you want to build them, if you get anywhere near my stats, you're going to beat the game. Like, they're very strong characters overall. I don't think that Ayato is the super, super meta character that you must have. If you look at someone like Ayaka, everyone says like she's the queen of DPS. People really love Ganyu and how valuable she is as a DPS. People love Hu Tao. Ayato has never gotten the praise of some of these other DPS units, but I think that he's better than people say. I think that he's very, very solid. That being said, Child does very similar things, if not better than him. Is maybe even more free-to-play friendly in some cases. But I like my boy Ayato. I'm a big fan. But Raiden Shogun, you gotta get. If you don't have Raiden Shogun, get her. Make sure you build her. She is invaluable to your Genshin Impact account. Any of the Archons typically are like pretty damn good for different things. But Nahida and Raiden Shogun really for like damage and hitting hard and supporting units. Amazing. Zhongli obviously just kind of like a shield bot. Kind of thing. And Kazuha is just like probably better in more comps. So I would say that she's on the level of these three units, if not above them in some cases. I think Kazuha is the best unit in the game overall. But Raiden Shogun is like number 2, probably. At least. Anyways, that's it from me. Have a good day. See you later. Bye-bye.